Hi, everybody. Happy day of resurrection. It was a good one, too. That was the big thing, right? It was raising all of the dead. Pretty incredible. It really does fall in line with what I want to talk today about. The idea of the Bodhisattva life. Bodhisattva, what is that? Well, it's like a Buddha, but a Buddha who's here. And a Buddha who will always be here. And you might not know it, but you're a Bodhisattva too. Maybe you've taken the vow in this life. Maybe you've taken it in a previous one. Maybe you'll take it in a future one. But when you come to understand the true nature of reality, you kind of don't really have a choice. I guess the only other choice would ultimately be to be a Buddha, which is probably just becoming part of the ground, right? The ground including everything we see around us. The reason why we kind of have no choice is there really is no birth and no death. If you were to die and go to heaven even for eternity, there's no death there. You just continue forever. If you were to die, imagine that you did, and you reincarnate. Well, you were alive. Your consciousness continued in a bardo, another bardo besides this one. And then your consciousness picked back up in a different bardo in some in-between stage. There is only existence. There's only eternity. And there's only you. This whole creation is the manifestation of consciousness's interaction with itself, giving itself a body, a single body that is this cosmos, and putting on a lot of masks to make itself not recognize itself. But when you can recognize that, you not only see, right, is there no birth and no death, but the understanding that all of this is you. Well, you can't truly pass on, right? You can't truly ascend. You can't truly leave this plane unless all of you is healed, unless all of you is ready to. And if this whole universe is you, well, everyone has to get there. And so the Bodhisattva at some point makes the vow that they will stand and they will hold the door open so that all sentient beings can pass through. Well, that starts right now. That starts right now. That starts every single moment. If we want to try to make a world that resembles a vision of the collected bodhisattvas throughout the ages who are about compassion and helping others and evolution, then we need to, in this moment, start wishing well for others, start wishing well for ourselves, start thinking good thoughts about others. You know, you see someone walking down the street, it's so simple to be like, oh wow, they look great. I don't know them, but they're a phenomenal person. And even if they have troubles going on in their life, I'm sure they'll be able to face them in a way that helps them to grow. Right? It's the easiest thing in the world to think good about other people. If it's hard, well, the practice in it is really easy. You just start doing it. And if it's still hard, you tell yourself or you ask your connection to deity or the universe that either A, you can do it, or B, ask for help, right? Can you help me to do this? If it's still hard after that, maybe you don't really want to wish well to others. That's fine. I mean, that's okay, but we'll just be around waiting. We'll just continue to be here. It's kind of the only game in town. So when you make that vow, it's it's done in understanding. You can't really make that vow without understanding the nature of things. It's kind of a big thing to say that you'll stick around till the end of time. And then you'll start thinking well of others. You'll start trying to have better relationships, better interactions, be more thoughtful overall. You'll do your meditation practices or your devotional practices, and you'll dedicate the merit, right? I found that to be such a beneficial thing. When I'm done doing my meditations or I'm done doing my prayers or I'm having a good moment during the day, and then you think, may all beings benefit from this, or may all sentient beings find peace or freedom, understanding, growth, wisdom. It's wonderful. I'm sure it feels beneficial inside, like it makes a light well up in me too. And I could go ahead and try to merit that out forever. But of course it makes me feel good. I'm helping other aspects of myself, right? I'm helping other aspects of my being presented in all of you, just as I am a representation of all of you, you know? We're all in this together. We're all individual and unique, and we're all one. If you try to keep all that merit for yourself in this little self, this little ego, well, your ego is a ghost. I mean, sure, it's real, it's there, it has a sense of self, but it's just a sense of self that's based on patterns and conditioning. And ghosts can't eat fruit, right? Ghosts can't reap the fruit of their actions. They're not even here. They're not even real. They're just trying to hold on to their sense of being real. And I get it. Facing the world as it is, not easy. Time isn't what it seems. Space isn't what it seems. Creation isn't what it seems. People aren't what they seem. You aren't what you seem. And it's frightening. It really is. It took, in my understanding of the way things looked, years. Over and over. Big reminders, total forgetfulness. Big reminder, total forgetfulness. I knew exactly what I was doing, who I was, where I was at, and then not at all. And then I would remember again, and then not at all. But every time coming back, it felt like gaining a little bit more, putting my hands in a little bit deeper, being a little bit braver. I'm pretty brave now, but I can admit that I was being chased by some butterflies today, so it was fun, but I am brave, I guess, except for bugs, maybe. And that's okay. It's kind of great. There is this idea, like I said, so, right, if we could imagine that there's a way out. There's a way out of this cycle that maybe we become the ground. Maybe it's something that is, I mean, beyond inconceivable. The issue really is that if we're all there, imagined as individuals, trying to hold this infinite door open, but there's an infinite number of us, right? There seems to be this sort of problem. We kind of create a door jam in a way. I mean, the door is always a little bigger, but also there's always more people. There's always more souls. There's always more embodied entities. There's always more creations being made in the body-mind all the time. It's never ending. So there has to be something else we could do. And there is. It's also not the easiest thing to accept. The role that we play with the type of consciousness that we have, we're these little things that are the universe, that are the divine. But we're also just parts of the divine as well. The divine has taken notice of humanity. The universe has recognized, the field, the ground, has recognized that the structure of the human consciousness is mapped in such a way that it is a vehicle for both life and death. That we hold lives within us. And we create lives out of our mind. And we destroy lives with our thoughts that turn into actions as well. We haven't been using our gift in the most effective way, which is fine and wonderful and perfect, but I think it's probably about time that we're supposed to be using it more effectively. I'm not saying we're supposed to, but it just kind of feels that way. The stories that we told for our imagined history have not been really conducive to allowing people to share a message in a way that wasn't going to get them killed. Well, there's no getting killed for that stuff anymore. This relation to quantum consciousness, this connection to this more scientific understanding of how things are, is kind of creating a safety net for us to fall into as we come out of realities. Maybe, if we are killed in some realities for these things, we wouldn't know, because we only live in the realities we live in. In the realities we die in, we stop existing. So naturally, the universe would have to bring itself closer and closer and closer to a place where the majority of the people alive are awakened, have this understanding. And I think a lot of us can see that happening around us. Again, this is to a point. What happens, or what's happening, it looks like, with that door jammed, is a lot of people think that, I can step through. And they step through. And they're dreaming. And while they're asleep. And they think they're awake when they're awake. And they don't realize that they're living two lives. They think that they've ascended and forget that they've ascended when they're back here. And so it's all kind of delusional. You can step back into this place. You can step back into this perfect world with the realization that non-duality sits here within us. But even then, things start to get a little strange. There's like this final test. Once you kind of realize, I am eternal, I can do whatever I want, I could live whatever life I want, and you go to sleep and you live that life, right? And then there's a step after that where, you're like, I can be awake all the time. This world is amazing, and I can do what I want. Well, what happens is you kind of start being awake all the time. When you're awake, you're here. And then you go to sleep. But your consciousness has reached such a rarefied level that when you go to sleep, you're so conscious and so aware that you just wake up. And when you're awake and you're conscious, you end up back here. And that level of consciousness starts to react with nature. The two start to have this more, I guess, yeah, again, rarefied dance. And you notice some days you seem to be off, and everyone else seems to be extra, like, positive or extra strong or something. And then other days, everyone else seems so confused. And you seem like you know everything. What's happening? One of the earliest lines in the Devi Mahatmyam, great, amazing text, is, some creatures are blind by day. Others are blind by night. Some living beings see equally well by day and night. Your level of consciousness becomes so vast and includes so much at a certain point that your days and nights become like all days. They all become an experience, and everyone around you starts to experience it too. And the phenomena that occur when everyone else is asleep and you're awake with them being asleep in a contextualized world that mostly looks like this one, is that those phenomenal experiences start to become more real. The weather starts being stranger. You know, there's this line in a work by Abhinavagupta about how sometimes you'll even notice the sun or the moon disappear. And people unaware of what's going on will suddenly be thrown into a haze of forgetfulness. And if you can see the sun disappearing, sure, behind a cloud or whatever, and recognize that it's actually sitting in your being, then you start to balance and enter this kind of like, right, twilight zone, right? It was a classic show. But entering that twilight zone with knowledge makes it so that you have so much extra time, you have so much extra life, you have so much that you can do, and so many people that you can connect with on deeper and amazing levels. You'll recognize when it's nighttime for the people around you. And you'll be able to talk to their subconscious, right? That's another way of looking at the day-night metaphor. The day would be when everyone is sitting in their conscious mind. And the nighttime would be when everyone is sitting in their subconscious mind. But when you interact with people and meeting them where they're at, in their subconscious, vast change can happen really quickly. I do want to see greater evolution in humanity, but there is no way practice is going to do it on its own. There is no way that every single person, all infinity of us forever, will have to do it on our own. No. We have to share it. We have to get out of our delusional thinking and see this, the beauty of nature. It seems strange at first, but the beauty. We don't have to wait for the end of the world. I don't know how many of you remember the world ending, but it ends all the time. Nearly as long as we've been telling stories, we've been saying that the world is ending. And do you know what those stories do? They end the world. You enter a place eventually that is kind of that day, night, area. It's a little scary. And you see the stories that people are telling themselves. The sun will go from being a nice day to the next day being so bright and moving in such a strange timescale, and the clouds are so weird. It almost feels like, from a different point of view, you could see a nuclear apocalypse happening all around us. That's what a lot of people are dreaming about. Well, it can't happen. Those worlds where we create a reality where we're all destroyed by nuclear Armageddon cannot occur, because we can only continue to live in the realities that we live in. The realities in which we die, we no longer exist in. And so you just see it as, until you can see what's happening, you just see it as a really, really bright sun. And honestly, it's kind of cool. But it's also good to recognize what's happening, because it'll be strange that no one notices it in the same way. It'll be strange that nature starts interacting with you in, really cool and fantastic ways. And really scary and fantastic ways too. And without a proper understanding, you will also fall into that forgetfulness. And so that's what happens at the door jam, right? Everyone's at the door jam and they're like, oh, well, I'll just jump through. I'll go ahead and go live in my paradise. And you'll just go to sleep. You'll just go to sleep and you'll live two lives back and forth, like most of us do. But it's maybe even more distinct at that point. When you see the vision of the end of the world, that's like a good chance for fearlessness. It's a really good chance for fearlessness. It's a really good chance to be like, well, this isn't just about, holding the door open then. I mean, the world could literally end, and when you're conscious of it, it could end for you. I mean, it would feel like it. It's a pretty frightening thing. And then when that whole experience collapses into your subconscious, it makes you forget. And you just are back in the cyclic existence. There are different levels of what's called enlightenment. Traditionally, in tantric texts, they talk about 16 or 17. But Abhinavagupta, the man, talked about an 18th kala. And that really has to do with our purpose as a specifically structured type of consciousness. That purpose of ours is to help the dead move on, right? The imagined selves that are floating around, these imagined patterns, right? These ghosts that no longer have bodies to connect themselves to, floating around, help them to recognize the parts of them that are illusory and help them to find new life and help them to fit into the life that they want. And also, so I mean, that's processing death into life, but it's also about creating life. I'll probably talk about that in a later video about mind-born beings and the evolution of all of creation. But I think it's enough to say that we are our structures of life and death. But how do we do this? How can we help the dead move on? Well, you get rid of yourself. You get out of your own way. You empty yourself of all your history and all your like attachments and things like, I mean, it's actually, there's good value for attachment and desire. The attachment to the one point, right? The self is a valuable and wonderful thing to hold on to. And the desire to help the one being, which is you, to heal infinitely, is an infinite number of beautiful desires. Sure, they keep us here, but this reality becomes the ultimate experience. And it becomes more and more about just sharing this with other aspects of our own being so that we can be in the stars, so that we can have all these realities come together in a way that is more and more aligned and coherent, and where you can see right into other people's space. It won't just be like looking through a window. You'll be able to go through their door as the universes are coming together, as our perspective, our universal and distinct perspective is coming together. As you empty yourself more and more of all these things that, especially aversions, right? Things that like keep you scared, keep you not wanting to accept the truth. You don't hold the door open anymore. You become the door. You become the hole in the middle of the hoop. And everywhere you go, you will help people process the ghosts of their ego and their emotions. You will help nature to reconnect with itself and with humanity. Have you all heard the birds? They've been singing a new song for years now. Look it up. It's pretty cool. Nature is changing. Nature is seeing that it doesn't want to get rid of humanity, right? All of nature felt like it was against us. And there are still certain aspects, certain beings who probably wouldn't want us around, but we're healing those wounds. When you can do this, when you can let go of yourself in such a way where you still have purpose, you can start living that aesthetic life. Why do you want to live an aesthetic life? Because it celebrates the glory of this creation. It celebrates this eternal, wondrous existence. This video is definitely not short compared to a lot of the other ones. Nelson, my husband, though, has suggested, and I am taking his advice, we're going to do 1 and 2, which means I'm going to do this as one whole, but then I'll also cut it up into a few pieces so it's more easily digestible, right? It's not only is this like a half-hour video, but it's kind of a dense topic. So, really enjoy sharing all this. Love you all so much. And I'm right there with you.